What's up, my dudes? Oh shit, boys. Grandpa Earl forgot his damn hearing aids. Oh man. So, we had a little bit of craziness go on in the Supercross race last night. If you didn't watch it, basically, Ken Roczen led, I think, every single lap. And literally on the very last lap, Dean Wilson was ahead of him as a lapper. He was a lapper, okay? And he got in the way, basically, for, like, pretty much the entire last lap. Didn't really get out of the way. And that allowed Cooper Webb to catch up, pass Roczen last lap, and Cooper Webb won the race, right? So that's what all this kind of crazy drama is going on right now in Supercross. That's what it's all about. So Dean Wilson has come out with an apology on Instagram, talking about how he really messed up and, sincere apologies and all that. He didn't realize it was, they were behind him and whatever. And I've been seeing a lot of people talk about they weren't waving the blue flags as much as they should have been. I mean, I'm seeing like every kind of opinion you could have possibly imagined. Like there's people saying, yo, Dean Wilson should be totally kicked out. Like there's people saying Dean Wilson did nothing wrong. There's, Ken Roczen's just crying. Like there's pretty much every opinion you could possibly imagine on the situation out there right now, right? One thing I do want to say is before you even get into this situation, you do need to remember that James Stewart and Chad Reed literally did this exact same thing that Dean Wilson did. To a T. You could even say Chad Reed did it worse. I'm not kidding you. A lot of you guys like to selectively forget that James Stewart ever got lapped, but he did. I think Moose Gann might have been in the lead of that race in Arlington one year when Stewart was like trying to come back and he was really far in the back. I think it was Stewart's very last year in 16 or whatever when he came back, right? He did that exact same thing. Got right in the way, pretty much cost Moose Gann the win, whatever, right? Chad Reed did the exact same thing to Dungey. So, all I'm saying is, don't be hypocritical, right? If you think, Stewart did nothing wrong in that situation and Reed did nothing wrong in that situation, but then all of a sudden you're going to want to try to act like Wilson did something wrong, right? Just be careful because you'll be hypocritical real quick because there's been some of the top names in the sport do exactly what Wilson did right there, right? But what I do want to say, my own personal opinion here, is they need to start giving out, punishments for not getting out of the way. I mean, I get it, it's this bizarre thing of like, I get that the people that are getting lapped shouldn't just totally, go plumb off the track, right? Like, I totally understand that. I understand Wilson was battling. He was in 10th place. It wasn't like he was totally in the back. But, I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, come on, bro. It's not that you necessarily have to get out of the way. It's just more of a respect thing. You see what I'm saying? That's really what it comes down to when it comes to lappers just staying in the main line, staying in the one and only main inside rut for 3/4 of a lap, not slowing down any, right? It's just like, it gets to a point where it's like, dog, you got to realize those people are not even in the front runner's race. They're, in a nutshell, they're not even really, shouldn't even really be there in a sense, right? It's one thing when lappers accidentally get in the way in one corner and then they get out of the way, or it's like they accidentally hit a jump or they're slowed down or they're whatever for one little spot. That's one thing, right? Nobody should really be punished for that. But when you're sitting there just deliberately running in the main line, you got two dudes obviously right on you that's not been anywhere around you the whole race. I mean, it's just hard to believe that Wilson didn't realize. It really is. It's hard to believe it. I mean, I was just sitting there thinking, like, how is Wilson doing? And I'm not saying he would deliberately stay in the way. I know a lot of people are kind of conspiracy theory about that because, obviously Husqvarna is kind of, owned by the same people as KTM and all that shit, right? Some people think that, Wilson did that on purpose to slow down Roczen to allow Webb, which is on a KTM, to catch up. But either way, whether or not Wilson meant to do it, didn't mean to do it, whatever, he stayed in the main line for literally an entire lap. Roczen literally bumped the back of his wheel over the wall jump. Literally hit the back of his wheel. He still didn't realize, apparently. But, I mean, it gets to the point, it's like, dog, come on now. I mean, come on now. You know, he says he didn't see it, whatever. And, like, I understand. Things happen. You're in the heat of the race. Sometimes you don't see things, hear things, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever. I'm saying it don't matter whether or not he meant to get out of the way, didn't mean to get out of the way, whatever. The fact of the matter is he was a lapper. He held up Roczen pretty insanely, stayed in the main line for literally an entire lap, pretty much. Allowed second place to totally catch up. And it literally just killed Roczen's race. So my deal is like, and I think this is happening this season specifically because you got so many fast guys that you're going to start getting dudes that aren't used to being lapped. They're going to start getting lapped, right? I mean, Wilson was in 10th place. You know, it wasn't like he was slacking. Wasn't like he's like a regular lapper, right? But that's the deal, though. It's like some of these boys that are not a regular lapper are going to have to learn how to be a proper lapper, or this shit is not going to go over well. I'm just saying, like, Roczen could have blew Wilson out of the water. He could have just ran into him, but it's like, I mean, of everything that Roczen has been through with injuries and stuff like that, you really think he's going to do that? No, that's not in his best interest to just run Wilson off the track. He's just trying to go out there and win his race. That's all he's doing. And, I'm not trying to slam Wilson too hard. I'm not trying to defend Wilson either. I'm kind of like in the middle on this situation. I get, the lappers are not supposed to just, oh my God, have eyeballs in the back of their head and shit. Like, I get it, but at the same time, when you hold up the leaders and you're in the main line and it looks like you're on the gas, it's like if you were on the gas that much, Wilson, at the end of a race, why the hell are you not up at the front? It's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing, dog? It's like you're on the gas enough to, be pretty much in front of Roczen and just going right in the main line. I mean, really, like, he should have just got out of the way when they came back across the start straight. You guys know what I'm talking about. Come backwards across the start straight, right before they hit that corner to go over the wall. There was that giant inside rut that was the main line. That was like, 3 or 4 corners after, Roczen had already been right on Wilson's ass, and Wilson still not getting out of the way, just being right in the way, right? He definitely 100% for sure should have moved over to let the race happen. And these dudes that are in first and second are way ahead of Wilson, okay? It's not like, that's what a lot of you guys don't understand. The dudes that are getting lapped, they're getting lapped because they're not even in the actual race, really. You do understand that, right? Like, I mean, to some of you guys that say lappers should never get out of the way for any reason, they're just racing, they're in their race line, and they're doing their own thing, and the leaders should have to be able to be fast enough to pass them. You do realize the leaders were fast enough to get all the way around to lap these guys. You do realize that, right? So you're obviously fast enough to get all the way to those people. So that's what I'm saying. If you're slow enough for whatever reason in a race to where people get all the way around to where they can lap you, obviously you should not be trying to race those people behind you. That's just stupid. That don't even make sense. Like, come on, guys. I mean, I get it. Like I'm saying, it's one of those gray area things, right? And I'm in the middle on it. I don't think lappers should just totally get completely out of the way for every single situation way before it's even to them. But at the same time, it's a respect thing and realizing that your ass is getting beat, you're getting lapped, get out of the fucking way so the dudes that are actually racing in the front can properly race, right? And I get it. Like, lappers play a part. It's a part of the race. There's probably some lappers that slow down, Webb at some point. I totally understand that. But there's a point where one individual lapper can be such a roadblock for such an amount of time to where it's just insane. Like Reed was in front of Dungy, right? I'm telling you, it gets to a point where it's just unacceptable, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's all good, if you want to try to run your race as a lapper and ride your own line and all that shit, but, like, you got to understand you're not even in that race. You're not even in the race of those top two guys. You're getting your ass lapped. Like, it's a respect thing, right? So either way, I feel like, AMA should have done something. I really personally do. And I don't have anything against Wilson. I think he's a great guy. He's an awesome dude. He's never really done a whole lot of shady shit, but still, either way, that's what I'm saying. It don't matter if Wilson meant to do it or not. It's what happened. So it's kind of like jumping on a red flag, Red cross flag, let me clarify, right? Some people say they don't mean to do it. Some people do mean to do it. Whatever the case may be, right? It's like, I feel like if it's obvious, I don't know. It's just I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It really is on the Lapper situation. The red cross flag, like, I think they was, it's the red cross flag is kind of like there's times where they flip that flag out right in a corner and it's not super easy to see, but in Dean Wilson's situation, it's like, how could you not have known? Roczen and Webb get right up on your ass. I mean, I don't know. The crowd has to be, pretty loud, somewhat loud. I know they don't have as many people in there as they normally do. Somewhat loud. You got bikes on your ass. I mean, Roczen literally hit his front wheel to your back wheel over the wall, and you still not slowing down. It's just bizarre. It's bizarre, that particular situation. I don't necessarily think Wilson was doing it on purpose, but good Lord, I don't know how he did not realize that. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I mean, I get it, he's in 10th place. He's not used to getting lapped, but I don't know. I feel like if you're to the point where you're within like one bike link in front of everybody that's trying to lap you for an entire lap, and you're staying in the main line, the main rut over the entire track for an entire lap, that's where you should get a penalty. And I think he did it for like 3/4 of a lap, damn near a lap. But what I'm saying is, like, if you go 4 or 5 corners and you're still blocking the dude behind you trying to lap you, that's where it just starts to get to more of that. You need to get a penalty for that, in my opinion. Some kind of a penalty. I'm not saying like an insane penalty, but there needs to at least be something there where it at least wakes people up a little bit to what's going on behind them. At least, makes them think a little bit about what's going on behind them, because I get it. Lappers costed Roczen and Webb throughout the entire race. Just normal lapper shit, right? But what Wilson did was not normal lapper shit. That was a little extra, dog. That was a little over the top. That was like, literally cost Roczen the win. Some people say Webb was going to catch Roczen anyways, but I don't know. I don't know. I really wasn't thinking so. Webb was definitely catching Roczen. Had it been another couple of laps, yeah, you could have said that for sure, but I don't know if he really would have passed Roczen. He has done that before, right? Let's not kid around, but I don't know if he would have done. I really genuinely think without Wilson holding up Roczen for the entire last lap, Roczen would have won that race, period. I just do, like, straight up. But either way, it's just my opinion on it. Poor decision out of Wilson. Really tough to watch. He's probably learned his lesson from that one. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of guys that aren't used to getting lapped. Hell, Tomac's probably going to get lapped in one of these races. Every one of these guys could get lapped in one of these races because how stacked the field is. So they need to wake up to that. Even though they've probably never been lapped in their life, the field is so stacked now, they need to really realize what's going on behind them, regardless if they're in 10th place or not. Shit, I think they lapped all the way up to like 4th in the 250 class in the main event. So, like, especially when you get these more skill gappy style tracks like this, you're going to have a super big gap between people in the race. So some of these dudes are going to have to wake up a little bit. But either way, it's a tough one, and I can understand any kind of opinion you would have on this situation. I really can. This is one of those weird situations where it's like I can see almost every argument somebody could make for it, but particularly my opinion is like, if you're going to stay that much in the main line, that close in front of the leaders for that long, you like literally 5 or 6 corners worth, almost an entire lap, I feel like you should get some kind of penalty for that, period. Now, if you're in front of the leader for like 2 corners or whatever, or like half a lap, that's not as big of a deal, but you know, I don't really think you should get a penalty for that, right? There's kind of that, like I'm saying, that gray area, fine line balance. I feel like if you push it any more than that, you should get some kind of a penalty, but if you don't, I don't think you should, right? So it kind of leaves you a little bit of room to still hold your, you know, still stay in your race, hold your line, do your thing when you are a lapper, but at the same time, you don't literally kill the entire race that's going on behind you, you know? So it kind of gives you a bit of a balance there. I think that would be the best option. But either way, I'm not like some, you know, I'm not super hating on Wilson now. It just kind of is what it is. I do think the Chad Reed situation, I was kind of a little more loss of a fan of Chad Reed when he did that to Dungey, because they literally had a spat in the heat race before that main event. So it really did seem like Reed did that shit on purpose back when he was in front of Dungey as a lapper. So that kind of changed my tune a little bit on that. You know, I really don't think Wilson did this on purpose. He's just never really done anything like this before. So, and it's not like him and Roczen have this big beef or they ran into each other in the heat race or something, you know, anything like that. But like, and the deal with Chad Reed's situation was he literally started clicking off like the fastest lap times he did in that entire race as soon as Dungey got up behind him. Like he literally got on the gas on purpose, right? So that was kind of a different situation there. I was a little more upset at Reed's situation than I was here at Wilson's situation, but still kind of bonehead, kind of like silly bad decision by Wilson, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. They'll move on. They'll get to the next race. Just another little drama thing. Gives me something to talk about. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.